What is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to another installment of the Casually FC Reacts videos, live stream, whatever you want to call it. Tuchel set up Potter to fail, Chelsea revisionism, and Mason Mount and the media. Listen, before we even start, I think all of us here wanted Tuchel to stay. We wanted Tuchel to have time at the club, maybe turn around the bad run of form that he had towards the beginning of the season, towards the end of last season as well. And so lately, the reason for doing this video is that lately it feels that a lot of people seem to have flip-flopped on their views on Tuchel and seem to have forgotten a lot of the things that Tuchel got wrong. As much as Tuchel did great for the club, got us a Champions League, won us a Club World Cup, a Super Cup, as well as got us to pretty much every final in every cup, right? I believe. I don't think I'm mistaken.
Except last season's UCL.
Okay, last season's UCL, yeah.
That's the only one that you didn't.
Made us really competitive as a team, right? There was a lot of negatives attached to that. And also, there was a lot of things that were underlying that wasn't being addressed, and he is part of the reason. And I would say that he's part of the reason that Chelsea are where we are right now. Obviously, he's not the only factor. There's Marina and the board. There's the fact that Roman couldn't come into the country. There's the fact of the whole Russian Ukraine, all that war sanctioning Chelsea and the whole takeover. So a lot, happened in Tuchel's hands that were out of his control. But there were things that were in his control that we're going to go over in a nice thread of tweets that kind of summarize it well. We'll kind of go over step by step, timeline by timeline, and see what's up with it. But big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to Surfs. Big up to Paulo. Big up to Jose. And big up to everyone here in the panel. We got Ali. We got Winter Surfer and Real Chris. So I guess before we start, guys, where did I'll go to one of you guys one at a time. Where were you standing with Tuchel before he got sacked? Oliver, let's start with you.
Obviously, we can all agree that at the beginning of the season, the form was nowhere near good enough. Look at the results. Zagreb, Leeds, Southampton. It was nowhere near good enough, and you can criticize on an individual game-by-game basis that that's not good enough. I wasn't Tuchel out, but I was starting to get frustrated with some of the patterns that were repeating themselves. Havertz and Mount constantly being in the lineup, which has still carried on into the reign of Graham Potter. The insistence of playing Conor Gallagher as a deep midfielder, as a number 6, really grinded my gears. But I was hoping that with time there could be a solution, maybe some of the mistakes could have been realised, and we move on to better things. It wasn't to be, but I guess to summarise, I was getting frustrated, but I definitely wasn't anywhere near a stage to be Tuchel out.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what about you, man?
Back him to our die, man.
Even through the bad form, how were you feeling about it? Did you think he was going to get out of it? Come on, elaborate more.
Yeah, Tuchel wasn't perfect. Like Oliver said, the late results and everything. Him maybe constantly picking Kai Havertz and Mason Mount up attack and all that didn't do him any favors, of course. Maybe him obviously relying on the midfield not to get injured as much, because he did like the midfield, but they got injured. Like Kante injured for a long time, Kovacic picking up injuries, but. I definitely, when he got sacked, I was shocked. Thought it was a joke. I thought it was a prank. I don't know. But for me, he definitely deserved the end of the season. But because I felt like he's the best manager we had since for a long time. I really like Tuchel. He's my second favorite manager, actually. I've obviously watched Chelsea under even Ancelotti and all that. I really liked Ancelotti too. But I backed him. I backed him fully, because to me he proved getting to finals and everything and all that, and win Champions League. I thought he could potentially win a Premier League as well, but he did do some things wrong. I'm not saying he's perfect, because I don't think any manager's perfect, to be honest. They all have flaws and everything, but yeah, it wasn't a good ending for him. But he's gone. We made him go to India, man. So yeah.
Well, maybe he'll find peace over there.
Yeah,
And
he's trying to find peace, I think.
and
Yeah,
Andrew,
yeah.
what were your thoughts before the Tuchel sacking? Where were you with that?
So yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Like the video, please share it, subscribe, all that jazz. Where was I? I was becoming frustrated with him in terms of he was really acting like he was coming across really like a moaning a lot more, looking frustrated, stuff like
I
that,
noticed
which
that.
is really. And he was acting like sometimes acts like a petulant child. Sometimes, like telling us what we don't need and what we do need and stuff like that. And it's like, just understand it's a new chapter, man. You've gone through all that stuff he went through in the summer or early part of the season. Sorry, the second half of the season, sanctions, stuff like that. I just thought he just blew an opportunity, man. He just blew a real opportunity. Football wasn't good at all. Even before the season started, the football wasn't good. It was becoming very it was hard to watch. It's still hard to watch now, but it was still hard to watch then. And it's like I always think I always think more of the sacking on his side, that he blew a big opportunity. Maybe we did, but we'll move on. Clubs always move on. Managers regret it more than clubs sometimes. So I think more disappointment, really, that he wasn't able to get out of his own way. Yeah. Really, I thought he was a big hindrance to himself. No, I didn't want him sacked, but I thought you've blown a real big opportunity here. So.
Yeah, I mean, overall, none of us were Tuchel out. We all wanted Tuchel to have time to turn it around. He just got the transfer window, and then a day after the window closes and he gets to play with the new team, he gets sacked, and it's really unfortunate turn of events. I will say ahead of time, everyone in chat, try your best not to be over emotional or reactionary to the title. It's here to get you to click it, obviously. It's also a question. It's not really a statement, is it? So we don't know if we're really going to conclude the fact that Potter or Tuchel did really set up Potter to fail or not. I guess we'll come to that conclusion towards the end. But if you're going to come here and call us plastics and be all up in your vagina, then listen. This isn't the channel for you. And listen, we're here to have challenging discussions, and this is one of the more contentious and challenging discussions to be had right now, was whether or not Tuchel was anywhere near as good as we thought he was. So let's go through this Twitter thread here that was shared to me a while ago. Shout out to Ali for sharing this a while ago, and it was very interesting. I don't agree with everything that's on it.
I need to revisit this. I haven't.
Yeah,
I don't remember this too well. Yeah. This must have been a few months ago.
So, don't know whether or not this person is Tuchel out or in. Listen, the thing is, it goes over the timeline of events pretty well. I don't necessarily agree with all of it. Let's see what you guys think. We'll go over this little by little and we'll react to it. So, for starters, right here, in the first transfer window we had, Tuchel was content with our attackers, even though they visibly underperformed throughout the season. So, what do? We then proceed to sign a striker who clearly wouldn't fit our system, and Tuchel was happy with the signing. So obviously, the first season under Tuchel takes over Lampard. We get to fourth place, saved by Gareth Bale. We lose the FA Cup final against Leicester. We were already knocked out of the Carabao Cup earlier in the season. We win the Champions League. In that Champions League, I think all of us said we needed a new striker because of the amount of chances that the club was creating at the time that we were not putting away. So that being said, would you guys agree that this first statement right here about Lukaku being the signing that we get doesn't fit our system, being content with the attackers? I don't know. Overall thoughts on this one, because I think I can agree with this so far.
Attackers, do you reckon? I don't think, because like he brung in Aubameyang. What you're talking about? The last season, right? He was with us like before.
This is talking about 2021 when we bought Lukaku and Saul.
Oh, Saul's attacker?
No. I'm talking about the same transfer window.
The window, yeah.
Well, I think he preferred. I think honestly he preferred Haaland, but I think he was like, yeah, happy with Lukaku. Like, I guess, yeah, I guess I agree with it then, because he was like content with Lukaku. But yeah,
Yeah, we only got Lukaku. It's not like we replaced anyone in the attack.
Okay.
We didn't. We know Timo was kind of an issue with the lack of finishing. We didn't replace him.
give him
mean,
a second season though.
Did we get another right winger? We didn't. Pulisic
No.
was already. We already knew Pulisic was somewhat injury prone.
We sold Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud. So that was attacking the
and we
that
ended up
was attacking
selling.
departure.
Yeah, true. I mean, Tammy didn't really get much of a snuff under Tuchel, and neither did really Giroud did, but it didn't fit what he was trying to do. I think at the time we all seemed to think that Tuchel wanted to have more of a false nine kind of formation and more of a moving striker than someone who is a target man like Giroud. And no, we saw Tammy play a few times under Tuchel. It didn't look good.
I can't believe he was satisfied with that attack. I just can't believe that.
Mhm.
Sorry. Let me rephrase it different. I refuse to believe he was. I refuse on. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I refuse to believe he was happy with that attack. You know what I mean? I just refuse. And someone put in the chat as well that remember that summer we were looking at Tchouaméni, and apparently he's part of whatever panel, whatever part of saying that let Tchouaméni have one more season in France or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I remember the Fabregas thing, that Fabregas was going to mentor him for another season and that he wasn't ready yet and, all that. Well, that's I guess, the attacking situation. It wasn't good. I mean, we were excited about Lukaku. You could see it in our reactions to the season last year, but it just didn't work out. And
I was so happy with that deal, actually.
I think we all were. Honestly, is it safe to say all of us were happy with Lukaku coming back when that was announced?
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, we were crying out because back then that was a time when we were creating chances. I believe in the time
we were creating a lot of chances.
In the time between when Tuchel came in and up until we won the UCL, the only team in the Premier League that created more chances than us, the only team to create more chances than us in the Premier League was Manchester City. So we were creating at a very high level, and it was just a finishing touch missing. It was lack of instinct inside the box, poor control, just not having the composure to finish. All we felt we needed at that time was a striker, but then somewhere along the way we lost our creativity, and we got into the situations that we did last season and that we're still in this season.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's continue this thread then. We signed no other attacker throughout the summer, and we're still stuck with watching Havertz, Werner, Ziyech, etc. play terribly, which limits us for the first half of the season at least. I don't know if I agree with this.
That's a long gift, man.
The first half of the season, it is a long gift. Holy crap! The first half of the season, we were in first place, weren't we? We were holding first place or at least top 4 until December when we lost Chilwell and Reece. And Ziyech going into that season was playing well. He was on good form. Then he got injured. Wait, hold on. He was on good form, and then he hurt his shoulder and he was out again. And we were complaining how he's injury prone.
He had a couple good games.
No. Let's get this right. He hurt his shoulder in the Super Cup, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
So the good form, we were only talking about like maybe
2 games, 3 games, maybe.
1 game.
That's a couple of games.
The reason he's saying this and showing this gift, which is not all of the start of, it's probably the 2021 season.
I think it's only Werner.
Yeah.
But if you remember, you can say we're playing well all you want and fine, we're top of the table all you want. But we were getting buried out by our defenders scoring.
Yeah.
Nearly every game. Not our attackers. Okay, or a Jorginho penalty or something like that. It very rarely was our attackers. And if they scored, it was like they scored in like the third goal of a 3-0 win or something like that. It wasn't like they were playing well. And then what happened is that we got the injuries to Chilwell and Reece, and then the 2 most crucial players to our system at the time of the wing backs were out, and our defenders couldn't bury us out anymore. So we were top of the table at the time, but you have to look at that, how we were performing. It was a very fugazi top of the table. It wasn't like like an Arsenal right now where they're getting goals from everywhere or something like that. So yeah, we were top and we were playing well. There was a lot on the defenders. Big up. Hey, up yours,
Yeah.
man.
Big up to Flawless. If you guys haven't already checked out his channel, links in the description below. Make sure you show him some love. Ollie and Chris, you want to add on to anything that Andrew said?
Go on.
I'll go for just a second because I agree with a lot of what Andrew said, and I just really like to give a real life example that really goes to prove that. I think we'll all agree on that. Maybe besides the performance at the Bernabeu, our best performance of last season was Juventus 4-0.
Yeah.
Juve, yeah. First goal scorer Chalobah, second James.
Didn't someone get injured that game?
Yeah,
Kante and
Chilwell,
Chilwell got into that game. But as I was saying, first goal scorer Chalobah, second James, both defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the pressure's off the attack. Then Hudson-Odoi scored the third and Werner scored the fourth. So it's just adding goals on top of all goals that were already winning the game. It means it doesn't actually mean anything. We're not getting bailed out in any crucial, clutch situation. So
you know what? Going into that game too, I think Chilwell and James were the ones that were scoring the most goals for us. It was our wingbacks, not even our attack.
James scored 2 up at Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
Chilwell scored against Brentford and Norwich and maybe one other.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
our attack was really crap. So, I mean, and that's the other thing too. Like, I don't want to blame Tuchel entirely for being, I guess, satisfied with the attack. I agree with Andrew on that in the sense that I don't think he was satisfied with the attack, but God, that scouting was so bad. And the fact that we didn't even try to acquire different wingers or different attackers that could probably finish some of the chances that we were creating. We just depended all on one big name signing, which was Romelu Lukaku, who didn't even fit the mold that Tuchel wanted. At the time, I just thought, good goal scorer, why not? We make chances. But yeah.
I think with that, you got to take, with that situation, you've got to take that away from being a Tuchel revisionism, and you've got to look at more of a old regime revisionism or Roman revisionism, and look at the systems that were in place, the infrastructure at the time where we weren't scouting well, when we were buying the flavor of the month and it didn't fit systems, and look at all the money we wasted. So it's the Tuchel revisionism is just an extension of the Roman / old regime revisionism, in my opinion.
Fair. Let's continue on here. Okay, so he goes on to say, I don't blame him for the whole Koundé and midfielder nonsense that summer, though. But jumping to the next window, we clearly needed a left wing back, a right wing back, with Chilwell and Reece both out. Tuchel says he sees no issue in these positions, so we go and recall Kennedy. Yeah, that one was not good. That was definitely not good. Chilwell was out by December, and we had all of December into January to try to figure out some type of replacement.
We were trying to recall Emerson.
The whole time we were just trying to recall Emerson. I think we were linked with Tio Hernandez, but that wasn't going to happen. AC Milan were competing for the Scudetto, I believe. They wanted to keep him.
Yeah, they were.
And then maybe the fee was also too high. And then what else? I feel like there was other signings or other links that we had that window for a left back, and it just didn't work out. And
Luca Dean was falling out with Rafa Benitez at Everton.
True. Yes, true. 100% true. Yeah, before friggin' Frank took over that job. We were linked with Digne too. That was a big one.
With the left back, it wasn't too bad there, because I honestly thought Alonso at left wing back wasn't too bad. It's the right wing back where we kind of need it. I don't remember when we tried getting Hakimi, but it's a bit after, wasn't it?
Do we need to do Hakimi was during the summer.
We tried for Hakimi in the summer.
It's done last summer.
Yeah.
Okay. We did try getting Hakimi at one point, but
that was
we
something
played wing back systems, and Alonso, as much as like we hated watching him at left wing back, he can do something in attack. And then Alonso, he's better than all our strikers at scoring goals, shooting, and all that, and he can create. But it's just when it's defending, he doesn't come back. But he's not too bad as a left wing back for me.
This is also very true.
With the
That's
Koundé stuff. If you read it this summer, even with Koundé, they try and say, or whether it's true or not, stories indicate that Tuchel didn't really want Koundé at all.
Yeah.
Either summer.
That was a
So-
club identified target.
Club identified him, but Tuchel didn't want him, or was doubts about him. Whether you think he's right or not, that's another thing. So, but you know, we were playing Pulisic at left wing back. You know,
Joe.
Hudson-Odoi at wing back. You know, I mean, I don't know whether he wanted any new replacements or not, but I don't know if the club would have spent the club. If you remember back, they don't. In the Romans' time, they very rarely spent in January. Very rarely.
True.
They did spend in January, but it was very rare. Even no matter what season, what the season was shaping up to be like, whether it's a winning one or not, it was very rare that we spent. Remember in 1920 when we got the transfer ban overturned in December, we didn't spend in January. We could have done in the 20.
Yeah.
We couldn't do it.
Didn't we end up buying Ziyech though in that window, and then he came in the summer?
No, that was for the summer.
That was for the summer.
Okay.
It got announced in February, so it was a pre-contract.
Okay.
Still
So like
hired.
an Nkunku kind of thing. Yeah.
So
that's what I meant.
Yeah, we very rarely buy in January. You know, so I think that was just a policy under Chelsea, really. Unless it was a serious, and you might say it was a serious issue, but they didn't see it as a serious issue. I did as well. So
I believe the last January signing before this window where we've got Badia Shield, Fofana and all that, I believe the last one was Pulisic, but that was to preempt the transfer ban. So it is rare, like Andrew said.
I think it's like either loans or like for instance, something like Higuain was probably the last.
Oh yeah, that was that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and like on a loan or something like that.
We sent Morata out as well.
Yeah, the biggest one before that was Giroud, I think. So like Giroud Emerson in 18. So.
And on to Chris's point too with Alonso, even prior to Chilwell playing, we knew Alonso was not good enough. I mean, Alonso played a few good games in the beginning of the season, then he dropped off considerably. Chilwell regained his spot in the starting lineup and maintained it up until the point he got injured. I don't know. I mean, was Alonso okay last season? Yeah, he was okay, but let's not have a Alonso revisionist stream as well, Chris. Like, he was not good enough for Chelsea.
He's at his best when he plays left wing back because he doesn't have to rely on defending.
I don't think he was his best anymore. That's the problem.
No,
I don't know what.
It's not Conte season.
I don't know what best means with Alonso anyway. So.
Alonso's best was probably that Real Madrid game, the second leg.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, he was phenomenal. Yeah, that game.
Yeah, he was great that game.
Right, yeah,
but we didn't get that every time with Alonso. So
no, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem.
There were still some moments in the Premier League. I know he saved us 3 points as well with this goal, isn't it?
He scored against United at Old Trafford. He scored against United at Old Trafford.
United as well, just a different team.
He scored a free kick at Stamford Bridge in the opening day against Palace.
It was like a volley, like an angle, like he touched it with one foot and then he volleyed it or whatever, and it just went in.
But the problem with Alonso is for every game that he scored, you had about 3 games where he just slowed down our build-up play, and he was incredibly one-footed. He had the turning radius of a yacht. You know, it just completely broke down our build-up play and any speed we had in attack. And you know, to be honest, I love Cucurella.
You can blame that on a few of our players, though.
It's a bit of a collective thing, but he's a part of it. I'm not saying he's the reason because he's not here now, and some of that stuff still continues. Yep. So
I think
he's a part of it.
I think part of the issue that the attack had with Alonso too is that his inability to connect with our attackers. So I think as a result of Alonso playing in Tuchel's system, players like Ziyech, players like Pulisic, players like Timo on the left, they just suffered from having to partner up with Alonso.
I know a lot of people don't want to admit it, but when Chilwell was in that team, Hudson-Odoi was actually playing well. And as soon as Alonso came back in against United at Stamford Bridge, where we drew 1-1, it just went to complete hell. You know, as much as people don't want to rate Hudson-Odoi, and you know, yeah, sure, he's not that guy, but there is something to be said about the drop off that we saw from one game to the other with Chilwell on that side as opposed to Alonso.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's continue this thread here. All right. So next thing he said, obviously, as I mentioned before, our attackers remain at the club, and Lukaku proceeds to flop. Lukaku even releases an interview disrespecting the club, and most he has to do is apologize. Tuchel keeps shoehorning him into the team, besides clearly making it worse. That is true, actually. Now that I think about it, even after the interview, where he was clearly dropping off in form, similar to how Potter right now is persisting with Mount and Havertz, Tuchel kept persisting with Lukaku up until the end of January. There was a streak of games where Lukaku had
It was like 9
absolutely
or 10.
no goals.
I think 9 or 10. He scored like 1 or 2 goals or something like that.
It was terrible. And in that
Yeah,
run of
he
games
was-
too, he had the game where he had only 7 touches, which is against Brighton, I think, right?
That
That was after the interview. Oh, it was Palace. That was after the interview.
Palace. Yeah.
He was even playing in some of the early FA Cup rounds, like against like Chesterfield and Plymouth and all them guys. And no goals, no performances, nothing.
He had
the problem was
pretty
he
much
just
checked
impressed
out.
as well.
Yeah, it's ironic. He came back and he scored a couple of goals, and then the interview happened, and then he didn't play against Liverpool, remember? Because of the interview or something like that.
Yeah, the interview came
True,
up the
that was
day
a big
before.
statement.
I think.
Yeah, we won that game, right?
No,
we drew that game.
But then he brought him back straight into the side for the next 10 games. And I just don't understand.
Into the Club World Cup, even.
Yeah, into Club World
Is
Cup.
it because he's a big signing? Do you reckon just managers like maybe just like you got to play him sometimes? Like he's a big
Pressure
player,
from the board, you think?
Board, I don't know, stuff like that. Just look
Alex
at
can't find his headphones.
I very rarely think that managers are ever pressured into playing certain players. Like I think there are very rare occasions. Like the only time I can think of that it's happened was Bale at Madrid, and it wasn't a case of he was pressured to play him. It was just Zidane wanted to literally just take him out of the team and get rid of him completely, and Perez said no. That was their big sticking point. That's why Zidane left the first time. So I don't think there's I don't necessarily agree with the idea that players are or managers are forced to play certain players.
Okay.
I just don't think that's true, because I think that most managers would have the fortitude to walk away if they were ever forced to do things that they didn't want to do.
Yeah,
So-
I agree.
I'll talk about the way I saw this. You know, yes, he did play like 8, 9, 10 games, and the performances were terrible. The way I saw it at the time was like Tuchel basically saying, "Put your money where your mouth is," because he said in that apology, you know, the only way I can really repay you is by performing on the pitch. So it's like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Here is 10 opportunities. Go and do something. And, you know, he couldn't score against Plymouth Argyle. So, you know, so you know what I mean? You know, give him that opportunity and then it's up to you. And he didn't do anything with it. So then he dropped him for Havertz. And then that was the rest of the season until I think Lukaku came back like just at the end. But yeah, that was the story.
But the thing that I had an issue with Tuchel here is that he gave him a run of almost 10 games. Whereas players like Pulisic and Ziyech, they would get 2 games at most, and then they get benched again. Cho, we can put Cho into that mix as well.
Cho was injured at the time.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair
Joe was
enough.
injured. He just had that run of 7 games where he was like playing well for the most of it, and we were starting to like see him get a run of games. As Ollie said, he had like 7 games, and then he got injured.
Why are we talking about this fraud?
Because I feel like it.
Oh,
And there's nothing else to talk about.
no, I thought he was in he's coming back or whatever.
Oh, no. We're talking about Tuchel. We're talking about the Tuchel history, Alex.
Yeah, but what is Bold Fraud is over here doing?
Because it's part of it.
He's part of it.
Part of what? Tuchel to Tottenham?
Well, if you'd been here from the start, you would know why, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. If I have a fucking day alive.
He was looking for his headphones the whole time. That's why he's late.
Yeah, fucking kids.
All right, let's continue. So the next part of the timeline here. By the way, everyone, smash the like button if you're enjoying the content so far, and let us know what you think about this whole situation. All right. So now we did get to 2 domestic finals that season, which is fair enough. However, our attackers cost us heavily. These same attackers that really should have moved on. The FA Cup final was even worse than the Carabao. Sure. You could argue though that FA Cup final, I think that was the one where
we was robbed in Europa, not Europa.
we was robbed. Yeah,
In,
I'm repeating
Carabao.
your words. Yeah,
Carabao was the one with
Who is
Lukaku.
this D-star
Mason Mount.
Christian guy?
I don't know, but they put up some pretty a pretty good timeline of events that happened under Tuchel, and I agree and I disagree with some.
Okay. Let me ask you something. So when people complain about comparing Tuchel to Potter and bring Tuchel into the conversation, that's not okay. But remember that we are in the 2 finals and just bringing the salt to the wound. Is that a better thing? That's what I'm trying to get into the conversation.
No, it's just a timeline and a thread of events leading up to.
Okay.
Exactly.
And we're kind of discussing it and analyzing it. Like,
Yeah,
do we agree with this?
We're not saying we agree with everything. We're just
Yeah.
going through it. It's like,
Okay, I think
like
some of the criticism that this person has is pretty unfair, but some of it is valid. And with the whole Potter out situation happening now, I figured why not trigger Chelsea fans right now and bring this up.
I can't lie though. That Carabao Cup, Tuchel should have won that. If it wasn't for Mason Mount bottling those 2 good chances, and
That was the FA Cup final.
FA Cup,
it was
and look, okay, and
technically both of them had the
right.
chance in both
No,
games.
it's 2 chances in Carabao.
Carabao
Yeah,
Cup and
yeah.
2 chances in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I thought it was the FA Cup.
It was
It was everywhere.
the way it went. It was
we
the-
played
the
in our
cap-
yellow. We played in our yellow kit in the FA Cup final.
yeah. That's why Mount missed the penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Plus
and
Pulisic
Lukaku-
missed a good chance.
Pulisic,
Pulisic
you're
missed a
right.
good
Yeah,
chance.
Pulisic.
True,
Yeah,
Pulisic
yeah,
missed a
So
good
you
chance.
can tell it's bad. You can tell it's bad that we're getting mixed up about which final our forwards cost us in. Tell it's bad.
I mean, it's the same opponent, isn't it? You know.
So we're
Yeah.
reminiscing on how bad our front three was.
We had the same
I
outcome.
see,
Yeah,
I got
pretty
it.
much.
Forward line cost us in both games.
But-
Like,
And Tuchel really didn't do anything about it except to say that, oh, Romelu Lukaku, I like this player, and
Okay.
Lukaku should got a goal that
basically, let me get this straight. Basically, you brought Lukaku into the conversation and Tuchel to remember how shit we were. So when he goes to Tottenham, nobody's upset about it. Okay, I get it.
nobody's upset.
He's like, remember
and
how
then,
shit we are. So when
Yeah.
he joins Tottenham, don't. Okay, I see. Got it now.
and then when he joins Tottenham, or either or, with Conte stays or he joins Tottenham,
That
we'll
would hurt.
give him Lukaku. He wants Lukaku.
I tell you what, it'll hurt me. It'll hurt me more than Mourinho.
Yeah, probably. We'll talk on
I
that.
didn't
for
care
sure
about
at
the
end.
Mourinho, but
because it's a long time. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this right now. This is more recent. Then in the summer, Werner leaves. We try to replace him. Tuchel's targets were washed Raheem Sterling, who was meant to be his marquee signing, and an old Aubameyang who didn't fit our system. We still chose to keep Havertz at the club despite being a terrible season. This, I think, is harsh. To say Raheem Sterling was washed is, I think, an absurd statement.
He still scored like
I-
12 goals in the season prior, didn't he?
As a bench player, mind you, as well.
Yeah,
he
as
actually played
off
well
the
under
bench.
Tuchel. He actually played well.
Yeah,
under
he
he's
did,
won the
yeah.
Bundesliga
Yeah.
as well. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I don't know who's that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Star
This-
Christian.
Yeah, that's the thing. This thread is flawed in some ways. You know, it is harsh in some places, unfair in others. You know, it's not perfect, but it's a good summary. Basically, that's all.
If he's Catholic, he needs to go and do light the candle for this kind of discussion.
But,
Or
I
maybe
mean,
he's been using too much. Never mind. That's not what I
Do-
know.
Can I say
You
something about
guys-
Walt Sterling?
go ahead.
Catholic
Does-
Church
does-
and
does
young
this
boy.
sound-
I'm
does
not
this
gonna
sound-
bring it
oh,
up.
Does
You
this
just
sound?
did, man. You just did, man.
Does this sound washed though? 17 goals and like 9 assists.
I was literally about to say he was their third top goal scorer in all comps
Yeah.
last season.
Does that
Yeah,
sound
exactly.
washed?
And I think if the struggling is a part of City, he's not there.
Exactly.
Remember Chelsea-
Like, his
remember Chelsea
replacement,
Why
his
Chelsea
replacement
fans,
in Grealish is not the same type of player.
Even
And so that's-
Foden is not pulling his weight.
Yep.
I will say this. I think Chelsea, for some Chelsea fans, call him washed because they don't understand how he plays
No.
and how it. You know what I mean?
I
How
think he's the best as far as I can see. I didn't see the blunt fake
Yeah.
left Ukrainian,
Yeah.
but if he's good, like he's the only one that actually really good in tight spaces, like Kovacic. I mean, in the
Yeah.
front three, not in the middle.
Yeah,
think- Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's continue this thread, boys. So yeah, I disagree with this. Also, actually, before we continue, an old Aubameyang who didn't fit our system.
That's
Under
the only
Tuchel,
bit
do you
about this
think
I agree.
Aubameyang didn't fit?
That's the only bit about it that I agree with, because the Aubameyang signing made no sense, regardless of which way you looked at it. Like, apart from the fact that he had worked with Tuchel in the past, but apart from
Do you
that,
not think?
that's the only bit I agree with. Like, there's no way that you can dress that up in terms of that was a good signing, because we didn't create when he wasn't here, and we still don't create now that he is here. Like that's the only thing I agree with, because that made no sense as a signing. That's the worst signing we've made this season. It just made no sense. It made no sense.
I actually think he played good for 2. I don't think it was that bad.
The thing is, he's played decent, but I think when I say it's a waste of a time and it was a pointless signing, it's because he hasn't addressed any need in our team. Like, he's just highlighted the needs. Like, him coming in was a waste of time because he's come in, been here 6 months, not done a lot, but again, like you said, I don't think that's his fault that he hasn't done as much as we probably expected.
Yeah. Can you slide back on those chances? So let's see how did Aubameyang would have improved those 3.
Oh, he would have done with those chances.
Thank
definitely,
you. That's the point of the signing, was it?
I agree, but then that's what I was going to say is him being here has highlighted the problem we had that bringing him in was going to highlight, and that's that our creators are awful. So that's
we
why
did need to replace. I mean, look, in hindsight's 2020, we look at it now and we see it's not a good signing. But don't you think that we also needed to replace Lukaku because we were getting rid of him?
Yes, but not with the same type of player. Not with a guy who's going to do the same things in terms of run off the last shoulder. Is going to not like he's done actually a lot more in build-up play than I thought he would, which has impressed me a little bit because I thought he was going to be literally not doing it. Basically, did what Werner did. It was like off the last man, not really do much else.
He starts in the middle, no matter how whatever it is. It always starts in the middle. He just drifts to the left.
Yeah, but it's like you needed to replace Lukaku with someone that was going to do more, because the problem with Lukaku, and it's not really a problem with Lukaku, because like for example that 7th game I think is only brought up and is like put into that much perspective because Lukaku had 7 touches and did fuck all. Like if Lukaku had 7 touches and did what Haaland did, where he scores 2 or 3, no one's talking about that game as a bad thing. Exactly. It's because Haaland can get away with it because the creators at City are amazing. Whereas our creators are.
Is it fair to say Aubameyang, Sterling, and Kai Havertz started well actually when they played 3? Because Kai Havertz actually likes to play with the striker, and those couple of games that Tuchel actually was there, Kai Havertz was he's not how you say it. He's not like a staying in one position. You know what I'm saying? So Sterling was more in the middle, in the tight spaces, and he was running.
We're talking about Dinamo Zagreb, right, Alex?
Yeah. And what's his name? With I don't know.
Fofana played that game too, and he led to the error.
So what I'm saying is like I'm not gonna say it's 100% would have, but it possibly could have worked with those 3 the way they played, because I think Tuchel wanted to make a diamond, and he was gonna put the fraud Mason Mount is in that scenario too. So that was the problem.
He's called him a fraud.
No. What's his name? Mount. I think he's still a good player. I just take a dig a lot, but I think he's good. And as long as he doesn't sign 300K a week, I'm okay with it for him to be as part of the squad. Maybe. I just think Havertz is more for sale. Better option to sell him.
We'll definitely bring up Mount later in this discussion as well. Let's continue on with this drive. All right. So not to mention, he sold Billy Gilmore, one of our most promising talents in the past, while keeping Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Also keeps Gallagher just to play him in the pivot. Now we struggle in the midfield because no one except Jorginho is competent anymore.
I agree with 100%. Well, not 100%. I don't agree with
Loftus-Cheek.
I don't agree with
comparing him to Ballack too.
I don't agree with the Loftus-Cheek thing. Forget the comparison to Ballack. I don't agree with the Loftus-Cheek thing.
How many games did Tuchel coached before he got fired this season?
With who? With this season, it was like 7?
6? I think 7.
7.
I think it was 6 in the league, and then the Zagreb game, UCL.
What I'm trying to say is like it's kind of hard to say what he would have done for the whole season based on those 7 games.
True, but I'm going off what he said and what I saw.
Yeah.
It's like I agree with this everything apart from the Loftus-Cheek thing, because I think he had like I still think he should go and be sold, but I think at the time he was kept because he had a purpose, and like with what we were doing, he had a purpose in the team, and that was fine. Like I completely agree about the Gilmore thing and about the Gallagher thing. Like bringing Gallagher in the team is fine, but trying to like profile him or label him as the next Kante
in the DM is terrible.
That's horrible. That's a horrible profiling. And Gilmore as well. We've seen that he can replace at times against lesser opposition Jorginho, and even play with Jorginho at times. And it's a guy, it's a player that for as little as he's played this season, that's fair enough. He would fit in our team right now with the injuries that we've got. And it's like,
a lot of players will fit. Would they improve? That's the big question.
I think so.
But the thing that shocks me about Tuchel is that I remember specifically in the FA Cup when we played Man City, Tuchel played Gilmore. He had a good showing, doesn't play him again. Tuchel then plays Gallagher this season against Leeds, has a horrible game. Next game, plays him again in that pivot, gets sent off in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That was the problem. I think in supporters' minds, he killed Gallagher before he even started for us. By even suggesting, yes. I think
it's hard to make those judgments because
hang on. I'm just saying, the way he described him as some sort of like he's got qualities near enough, or he's a replacement for Kante or anything like that. In people's minds, you are not that person who you describe is not going to fare well in their minds, because Kante is a like a unicorn. You know what I mean? He's just not. Nothing really can compare to him at the moment. So to even suggest that Gallagher's got those qualities in him, when if you watched him at Palace, he didn't really show that. I mean, he was very good at Palace. Don't bear in mind he was good at Palace, but I think the actual idea of it may have had unfair judgment against Gallagher from Chelsea fans when it started. So, but that you have to say that his whole opinion of the midfield this summer was just not what I know your ardent Tuchel backers would even admit we needed help in the midfield.
Yeah,
this summer, even they would go, listen, we back you, but you need to sort the midfield out. And really, he only acquiesced to it after we lost to Southampton, I believe, 2-1.
And guys, remember in the summer too, and Gabriel, this goes to your comment. I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but remember in the summer, we knew we needed a midfield signing, or we needed midfield, and we thought maybe this is going to be Billy Gilmore's chance to step into the team. He sent Billy Gilmore back to the UK. Didn't even travel with the team.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, to take like Kennedy and whoever else back to UAE.
Yeah, you're right.
It didn't make any sense.
I don't think he ever liked Gilmore.
Which I don't understand. I just don't understand.
I'm not upset about it either. So.
There was a game we played against Udinese, I think. I watched the highlights of that. It's like certain ways of certain like attributes he had in that game that I saw and I've seen him have before. I'm not saying he would have been perfect, he would have been the fit finish arse or anything like that.
But we needed midfielders
that he has that would have been brilliant in like that Tuchel system or in this Potter system we're playing now. Just in midfield where it's like he's always scanning, he's aware of where he's playing the ball when he gets the ball because he's scanned beforehand. Like those sort of things that you can't really teach players like that. They have to have it or they don't. It's quite hard to teach them unless they are brilliant learners. It's quite hard to teach them that sort of stuff. It just kind of comes naturally. But
I guess time will see if he's going to be the same as you remember what's his midfielder that used to be good for Chelsea under Ancelotti, and then he crashed and burned. I forgot his name. McEachran, yes, exactly. McEachran.
I don't think there was. Can I tell you right now? There was never any. And Chelsea fans, McEachran's, sort of. You would in their minds, he's going to do the next big thing. But outside of Chelsea, no one ever heard of Josh McEachran.
Gabriel, I don't think this is true. I think Tuchel wanted him.
He pushed for the loan. But
Gilmore pushed for it.
Tuchel pushed for the loan as well.
No, Gilmore did.
Gilmore pushed for the loan. But hold on. It's like there's certain things that number one. Some of this is easy to say in hindsight. Like the loan was just stupid. Like the loan was poor, especially when there are other options. I believe Rangers were interested in as well. And at the
They
time,
were.
that was that Gerrard's Rangers or was that?
It would
No, I
have
think that
been.
was Gerrard's Rangers.
It
Yeah.
was.
So that was when they were
Yeah.
performing.
Gerrard left mid-season.
Hold on,
Yeah,
Scott. Hold on. But am I correct in saying that didn't Tuchel actually advise him to go to Norwich because of the manager
Daniel
that was
Farke.
there that worked
Yeah, no. So
under
the
Tuchel?
actual the where he went on loan, Tuchel advised, but in terms of the actual wanting to go on loan, he wanted.
Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Gilmore
Yeah, it's
pushed
like-
to go out on loan. Tuchel advised to where to go because he's friends with Farke.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
if you have to go on loan, I recommend here.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
turned out
it's
bad.
also
because
Tuchel's.
they would rather got to the point where they would rather play a lone guy from Russia, who
Yeah.
was, I'm
But-
not going to lie, was better. Like he was arguably their best midfielder, the other guy that was playing instead of him. But it just didn't work out, and it's one of those things. It's like Vale this season. Vale at Hull has played like 3 games, and now he's been sent back.
True. But the other thing too is that it's also on Tuchel because there were games where Gilmore had a perfect opportunity to play, and Tuchel would persist on playing Mason Mount in a pivot rather than
Because
Billy
he didn't
Gilmore.
rate him. He didn't rate. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
that's-
I don't
think he
understand what part of people don't understand. He never rated him, and
He
like
never rated him. That's
Yeah.
right.
If I may,
Like
I
it's
think
the same
I think,
thing. 3 players, 3 managers don't rate Pulisic, no
Yeah.
matter how you try. But
Yeah.
also, some 3 managers rate Mount. So
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
Yeah. What were you gonna
Yeah,
say, Oliver?
Because he works
You-
hard,
you-
you know.
Yeah, Marshall, you mentioned earlier about how Gilmore would have one good game and then be dropped, whereas Gallagher would have a howler against Leeds and then play against Leicester. I think, me personally, that's due to Tuchel wanting more of a ready-made team than a team of developing players. So, Gilmore is a player fresh out of the academy, whereas Gallagher's been on loans to Charlton, Swansea, Palace. He's got more experience on him. I think that definitely plays a part.
Yeah, and I think he
Right.
probably likes Gallagher's characteristics more on his P&P. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
Gilmore's less than
Blonde
that.
mountainous.
Yeah,
That's
All
very-
right, let's.
he thinks like, why do I need a weak ass midget in the midfield when I have Fragilino over there already?
Probably true.
Same type of player. What the fuck?
Well,
All
we
right,
can only, we only need one. We only need one in the squad. We don't need.
Yeah,
two.
exactly.
So what's
By the way, everyone, smash that like button, please, if you're enjoying the content
Smash
so
it, you
far.
bozos! Smash that!
Hopefully, you guys
Yeah.
are enjoying it because this is a really good discussion. It's much needed. So, anyways, we still refuse to get James a backup despite being injury prone, and we still refuse to get a long term option in midfield who would actually improve us. Now we have no one competent at right back because the issue wasn't spotted. Shock.
Chris, I'll put
Hey,
on
wait,
TV.
is this
Everything-
a thread from last about Tuchel or this season? What is it?
This is still under Tuchel though.
It's like you can
I
put
was
this
going to say
message
most of
into any thread this season.
that is true. I'd say most of the stuff that happens with
Big up,
Tuchel,
Jen.
like
Yeah.
I think most of the what's the word, like negatives, for lack of a better term, you can say about Tuchel and the issues that came with him being manager. Most of them are from this summer onwards. I would say a lot of what we're
Yeah.
seeing now, apart from obviously the Sterling thing and all that nonsense, what we're seeing now, I think, is a lot of the issues that happened with him as manager are from this season onwards. You know, the
I would
people that
argue
decided to turn on him
January of
about
last year.
potentially,
When are we
but I still think there were things that he did. You see with the finals and whatnot, where he still was able to do magical things, and I think. Yeah, I think this summer is where it started to go a bit wrong. And it's like you started to see like a few people start to turn on the way we were playing, which, as we've seen since, was understandable why we were playing that way because he was right in terms of we play that way to protect certain people.
Mhm.
Is this star Christian ever brings it up? Players stop playing for Tuchel. Is that in this sometimes?
Maybe.
We're not that far yet.
Maybe.
We can maybe see as we go further down.
I mean, let's go to the next one. Why not? I haven't even addressed the creativity issue. Our only starter who can create chances consistently is James, who's a right back. Mount and Havertz aren't consistently creative in open play, and somehow Tuchel never saw an issue, which is still present now.
Yeah,
I mean,
So Hakimi
very
was Hakimi was just like it was nothing, right? It was just shit. Like that didn't happen, right?
Well, there's got to be alternatives in the market.
Yeah,
You look at Aspilicueta's not a solution. You don't. Oh, we didn't get Hakimi, so we're done for the season.
We did
You know,
want another
True.
one, right?
He
From the-
persisted
Yeah,
on
I'm
keeping
sorry,
Aspie.
but didn't what's his name? Fraud from Leicester? No, not Leicester. What's the fucking
Southampton?
No.
Oh, Everton? Digne? No.
Who are you on about?
Are you thinking of Traore from Wolves?
No, the fuck they won to Barcelona. What's his name?
Dani Alves.
Couldn't they?
Rafinha?
Rafinha.
Oh,
Didn't we
yeah.
link with Rafinha?
Yeah,
was.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
so
another.
that's
probably
Hakimi, that's Rafinha.
I will say this is another.
Hakimi was his. Hakimi was his. The problem with Hakimi was the price, but also that.
No. The question is, did Tuchel ever address those situations?
Well, not
So
after
he did
Hakimi.
address
No,
the situations.
No,
I don't
The
think
problem.
he did.
Okay.
address it. I don't think he
That's
did.
what I'm
I
asking.
don't think going after one
First, he
target.
started
does
playing
work.
Hudson-Odoi.
Not one target, 2 targets.
2 targets, yeah.
I'm not counting Rafinha as a right wing. This is another issue I have with Tuchel, by the way.
Yeah.
Is profiling of certain players. Like, if all reports are to be believed, he wanted Rafinha to play at right wing back. He wanted Koundé to play at right wing back. It's like, it's the profiling of certain players is awful. Like, he
Koundé
was
is a right wing back.
Scott,
Yeah.
do you remember
Oh.
the press conference? Scott, do you remember the press conference where he said that Zakaria can play wing back?
Oh, this is a thing. And I loved it when he was amazing at so many things. Some of his profiling of certain players was genuinely terrible.
I just
It's
don't think.
genuinely
I just
awful.
think people are taking it way too much to how you say to direct those
Literally.
words. Yeah,
But
too
you
literally.
guys remember
When he's
I mean,
like he's saying that he's not interested in midfield,
yeah,
but then it was De Jong linked to De Jong, and then we all of a
True.
sudden get Zakaria. He said that we're not interested. People saying that he was never interested in wing back, but all of a sudden we're linked with Hakimi. Then was that. By the way, to anybody challenge that wing back situation, Rafinha wing back? The best wing backs are actual wingers.
We were linked to
Yeah, look
Hakimi
at
in
most-
we were linked to Hakimi in the summer of 21, not this past summer. And
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Hakimi
that
was-
because the Rafinha he was this summer, and
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
his name? That guy that Gem is how you say it, sweating over from Barcelona that he was sleeping outside his house all the time.
Koundé.
Koundé.
Kunde, yeah.
Koundé,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
Hakimi-
these
so-
guys aren't right wing backs. These like
But
But-
these
Hakimi,
guys aren't right wing backs, and it's
Look,
like if your
look.
solution to fix the squad. I am worried.
Here's my worry. When you're saying it can't happen, remember Moses. When we played him as a wing back, remember what people said that what the fuck? If you will buy Moses to play a wing back, what would you say, Scott?
Depends on the formation and the system you want to play. To be honest,
3 at the back with the wing backs. What
Yeah,
Moses
yeah,
played.
it worked because of the system we played. It's the same reason Alonso worked as a wing back under Conte and was shit for every other manager he played for.
I think it also
What I'm
helps
saying, did Tuchel play 3 at the back with the wing back system?
Yes,
Yeah,
it again
it did.
depends on the
Okay,
system.
so why it's not possible that the player that not in your vision can actually play?
Koundé's not a right wing back. Like we can debate Rafinha, the Koundé one. He's like that's genuinely shit.
More of
That's
a right centre
misprofile.
back or right
No,
back.
I tell you what.
That's shit misprofile. Like,
If
he's never
Moses,
been a wing back. Ever been a wing back in his entire career?
oh
apart from
fucking
that couple
A,
of
did
times
Moses
at Prague.
ever play the wing back before that?
He's not got the attacking.
Koundé's not got the ability to attack in tight spaces and do the things in attack to be a wing back.
And die for
It's
penalties.
literally-
His primary position is centre back. Secondary is.
I was saying he's played
pri-
centre back
yeah.
basically his entire career.
First of all,
Yeah.
he was never bought as a wing back as the replacement for James. That's number one. He was always positioned for the wing, for the position for the back, for the second one, not the first one. He was
was?
look at it as the replacement
Koundé.
to James when James is not playing. So don't tell me we're going 48 games a season with Koundé. That's why we're buying him. No, we bought Koundé because we had problem with Christensen, and he solved the other problem that can play as a right back.
Right back,
So-
not wing back.
Wing back, I'm saying
mean,
like a wing back.
No, he wasn't bought to play right wing back. That was never.
No,
discussed.
he wasn't bought to play wing back. He
he was
bought to
never- he
play
was
to
never first
center
choice
back,
for
but he
He was
can
also
cover
not-
for the wing
He's
back.
also not
No, he
first choice
can't.
for centre
He's
back
never
either
never
because
played
Tuchel had an
wing
issue
back.
with his
He's played
height.
right back.
Okay.
He's played right back.
I mean,
He's never
Tuchel would
played
have
back.
done it though. I think that's what
He
Alex
would've.
was
Well, that
pointing
would
to.
be
Is
that-
Tuchel
that-
would have done it.
Then you could have sussed him
Yeah.
a bit more. But
Okay.
There's no point.
But
There's no
when
point
people,
in playing him at right wing back. He never offered. He never
I
offered
think
anything attacking.
I think the issue also stems from the fact that, like, okay, Alex is saying we did go for targets for the right wing back position as a replacement or a backup for Reece James, but I think the issue that we're
to
all,
replace James.
yeah,
never.
I think the other issue that we were having as well here is that if we didn't get our targets, that's it. We didn't go back into the market to get
What
something
about
else.
Dumfries? I heard about Dumfries at one point.
Yeah, we'll link with we'll talk about Dumfries too for the wingback. Wait, Dest.
Dest,
What
yeah.
the fuck?
Yes.
We'll link to Dest as a wingback
was-
under Tuchel.
We were.
But why didn't we get him? That's the issue that I have.
Because-
He was
because
talking.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
guys.
sorry. Let me throw my badge, Chelsea employee badge, and I'll come back and I'll.
Well, the thing is, it's like if we our old regime and our new regime are at the moment of clearly
Yeah.
opposite
I think-
in the way they
are
they
true.
bid for players.
I think
our guys, they know what our Marina and those guys they will set a price. I know what we're going to do. We're going to bid 20 million under that price first of all, and then not pay any more and then walk away. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
These guys will pay whatever if they think the player is worth it. They'll pay what the price is.
yeah, that's what we
remember
did
that.
to Enzo. Said that we're gonna play release
Yes.
class, and then turns out it was like 85. Right? That's what it is. So
I gotta
isn't it the same thing what the old regime
What I'm
did?
saying is no. Remember, now they're starting to learn. Remember at the start they would
Oh,
just throw
fuck.
money. They would throw money at things. But what I'm saying is that we tried to turn a seller's market into a buyer's market under the old regime, and it never worked. Right?
Okay.
Remember, we went for Lukaku. You paid 97 million for Lukaku. That's because we thought, and he was our only option at the time because Haaland wasn't happening and Harry Kane wasn't happening.
Maybe
That was
if
the only
Marina
one.
has a 1.5 billion debt free, maybe she could have paid.
Maybe.
No, I'm
But
not.
hold on.
No, but
hold on.
Alex,
Hold on.
Alex, this is a lady who refused to sell Batshuayi to Everton to Leeds because they wouldn't offer 5 million more, and instead then gave
And then
him
proceeded,
7
and then
years extensions on his contract.
and
every
not even that,
summer.
Andrew. Then proceeded to loan him to Besiktas, where the loan fee was the same amount that Leeds wanted to buy him for.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, didn't Dortmund offer 40 million before that?
No,
Right.
they wanted 40. They wanted 40 for Batshuayi after not even half a good season, 8 games or whatever it was before he got injured.
But I want to point out one more thing, guys, is that, okay, we're talking about the old regime. Yeah, Tuchel definitely wasn't back to the old regime. But under the new regime, this summer window that just passed, we re-signed Aspie. That was under Tuchel's watch. Tuchel
big
rated
problem.
Aspie. Tuchel played Aspie for the purpose of activating a clause in his contract to have him extend the contract, I believe, something like that. I don't know.
No,
I'm not good.
I don't think that was on
legality
purpose.
here.
That was out of necessity because James was injured. We needed someone to play at wing back. I think that clause was triggered out of a necessity of just looking at the next game. That's our option at wing back. I don't think there was a intent to trigger that clause. But the re-signing of the contract, extending him for 2 extra seasons, that was definitely intentional.
I think the clause was actually activated on a number of games he played or something like that.
Yes, that's right.
It was,
that's right.
He'd hit a certain number of games and it was just activated like that, the 1-year extension. Now,
I think this summer should not even be considered as a transfer market backing up anybody, because this this summertime we did. I still think the reason why I love Tuchel for what he did, and I kind of more respect him as the mental better than Mourinho, not for the things that he did at Chelsea, but what he did, because this is hardest thing that Chelsea ever done. Had to sell a club and find a new owner.
Yeah, very
He
true.
went through that smoothly. The press was pressing him. He answered everything. It was seamless. Then summertime. I don't think people realize we got the new owner, but the new owner is the offices. Nobody is in it. So I don't want to place this transfer window on Tuchel because I don't think the new regime had complete hold of it, and the old regime is already gone. So
Yes.
I don't want to rate this transfer window to blame Tuchel for it or to blame Potter for it. This transfer window need to be forgotten. It's it. From now on, what we're doing it's the
You
best
can
thing
still-
to do.
You can
If
still
we
put
wanted to
some
do a best thing to do, hire Vavel before anybody else, but we
Yeah,
didn't.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on
still-
that. I agree on
blame
that.
on Tuchel for this window. To be fair, just for
I
certain
think
I know you just like people to suffer, Scott. So
I think, listen, I agree with Alex for the most part. Like when it comes to Tuchel, I rate him. I wanted him to stay at the club. I think he did a lot of really great things for the club, but it was Tuchel who.
I'm
by
gonna
his
get dizzy
actions-
with Aubameyang keep flipping over it. Can you slide it over, please? Yeah, show me his
that's
ass
a
now.
better frame. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
about
better
to say,
frame.
that first stop in the
But when it comes to Tuchel, right? I think he is part of the reason that we never went in for a midfield. He came out and said that he's happy with the midfield as it is. He came out and put Gilmore back to London, persisted on Connor in the pivot. You know, he comes out and he does this. And then also we get Zakaria. He doesn't play Zakaria at all.
I
Because
wouldn't
blame him to
at
warm
the
up.
end of the window. I would
Was it towards
say
the end of the window?
that
I don't remember. This is why
Yeah,
we're all
it was
having
a deadline day loan.
Yeah, I wouldn't put much on him not playing Sakari on him because we only
No.
had like 2 games after that.
It was one game. It was the Zagreb game.
Yeah, so I wouldn't put. I wouldn't
Fair
do
enough.
that.
Fair enough.
What I would do is I would say that he should have. Listen, when people say he should have pushed for a midfielder, he, like you said, I don't think he thought he needed much more of a midfield because, like you said, he had Conor Gallagher coming back, he had Loftus-Cheek, he had Kovacic and Kante, and then probably someone reminded him that Kovacic and Kante are always injured. And look what happened last season. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he should have got tunnel vision on that. He got in his own way with that. He got like some things on there. He just couldn't see for the trees. You know what I mean? Couldn't see the wood for the trees. Essentially, he got even Tuchel couldn't come up with any transfer suggestions until deadline day.
This is where, can I just say, this is why I do blame Tuchel, because a lot of managers, regardless of whether you want to get involved with transfers or not, when it comes to players that you could work with, will usually give the director of football or the owner or whoever a list of names or a list of kind of key positions you're after, and then it'll be up to them to kind of get the right fit. Or maybe you suggest
onto that, Scott, too. I don't remember if you guys remember this either, but didn't we discuss earlier in the season that do we really think that Tuchel has an eye for talent? Because that was up for debate.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I think it's suspect at the moment.
I actually think that that's when Scott of like, fuck, I want you to suffer when I hear those words that I want manager to come with a list. You know the reason why manager comes with a list and then we fire that manager? Because the managers comes with a list. And when you buy those players based on the list, the owner comes to you and say, you fucker want that list. So, and now those players don't play? That's the problem. The only manager that does that is probably, what's his name? Pep. The rest of it, do not have it. You're not gonna. You keep telling me. I understand Pep does that, but you keep telling me that what's his name? That Liverpool does it good scouting. That other teams do good scouting. And based on what you're saying, none of them have a list. They all have a good sporting director who has a list. I want the sporting director to have a list, not the manager, because managers are bums, just like the rest of us.
Because as I just said, if you listen, what they do is they'll get a list of players or positions or type of player that they want, and then they'll give that to the owner, sporting director, director of football, whoever, or the scouting team, and then they'll go and scout those players and get maybe one or two of them. But like they did with Liverpool, with Klopp wanted Brandt and he wanted Goetze, and Edwards went out, tried to find kind of either similar profiles or profiles that would still work in the system he wanted, and instead of Goetze and Brandt, got Salah and Mane, who were going to be
actually,
the two players.
It's not instead.
It was instead.
Actually, I talked to Liverpool fans, and they saying it wasn't instead. It was actually said no. We think Salah will fit better profile.
I heard Salah was the second option.
Salah was the second, yes.
So
the number one was Timothy.
So it is instead then. It is instead.
It's instead of.
It's instead of. Yeah, he's right. It's instead of.
No. So no, for example, if the name was of the first person that he won, so Tuchel won this person,
Right.
and they were not going for that person, not because they couldn't, because the director said no.
Yeah. Because yeah, so
And they came up with an alternative. My point is still valid. What Tuchel could have done is gone to Bowley and said, "These are a list of players that I would like." Like, say, okay, I would like a centre back that is this tall, because that was the main issue he had with Koundé playing centre back. Has these kind of attributes, or this sort of thing. These are the players I would like. There you go. You go and do your job now. So that's why I put the blame on him, where he was clearly fine with the options we had in midfield and the options we had at wing back. Like, he was clearly fine with them because he didn't kick up a fuss, apart from once where he said, "These are what do you expect? These are still the same players."
Well,
And then again, if you believe Matt Law, whether we do or not, I don't know. If you believe Matt Law,
I don't
the
believe
only name he was able to offer when it came to midfield was Edson Alvarez.
Let me just say that this summer was very different as well. Like Alex has alluded to, the owners came in and our infrastructure left, essentially. Marina and Czech, whoever Czech was doing, left. Okay, Bruce Butt left. They left. So there was no sporting director as a buffer in between, or whoever, in between Bowley and Bowley, Clearlake and Tuchel. It was literally Bowley, Clearlake and Tuchel with the transfer targets. And it's reported in the scene that Tuchel doesn't like to do that. He doesn't like to focus on transfers and stuff like that.
I just want to stop hating on the guy.
We're not hating on the guy.
Believe me,
it's like a favourite manager.
Listen.
Can I just say? Let's stop being so sensitive of Thomas Tuchel. Better managers have left worse than him at this club. Yep. Okay, let's get over it. Seriously, Jesus.
It's not that.
I'm surprised by you being so sensitive about Thomas Tuchel as well. You know, you've got ice through your veins usually. You know what I mean?
Yes, and for me, people don't understand. I rate him, and I didn't want the guy in my Chelsea before. I did not want the guy.
Me neither.
I did not want the guy, but he made me think. He made me see how good of actual manager he is, and that's why I was disagreeing. I did not want him signed because I don't think he's as good as finding talent or find the players.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that. I think we needed somebody that was better, has a vision than him. And definitely not Peter Cech. Marino was never looking for the talent either. For the first 11, you don't need scouts for the first 11. You need scouts to find the system. If you play in the specific system, you don't need scouts.
Yes, you do.
Basically, for the top 4.
In fairness to Tuchel, he was let down by Marina and Czech.
The board was horrible.
Yeah.
And they were Butt was going, but he was let down by the people above him. Like I said, there was no buffer in between. Remember, this is a guy who first met Roman Abramovich in the Champions League final face to face. Yeah? There was no meetings about her before that.
I think the reason why I like Tuchel is because he understood that club is struggling at that moment, that the owner is can come into this. I think he understood the situation. Because again, when people saying that previous regime, I hate this use of previous fucking regime, it's because now all of a sudden, oh my God, yes, new owners are blessed. They have way more money than what's his name? Than what's his name?
They're willing to spend.
They're willing to spend. Plus, another thing, if it was at 1.5, that was not, FFP will look different. Yes. Lukaku still will be under FFP. All those bad signings will still gonna be under FFP. So by clearing that debt from old regime, it makes Todd Bowley breathe easily with FFP.
Yeah. Plus, I also think
saying, do not say that Marina did this, because there was a different times. It wasn't because if she had the money as Todd Bowley has the money, do you think she will be dodgy with those signings?
Yes.
I think she's very frugal and stuff, Alex. I've got to say,
it's not frugal. It's the poor. It's the poor ways of spending. Like the main thing I can say about Marina is more often than not, her outgoings were decent. Like more often than not, she could get a good deal with the player. It's the incomings that are the problem. say, when you're spending 72 mil on a release clause for a goalkeeper, that's just stupid. Unless they're on a world class level.
I will say that's not.
You'll have
I
the
will say
potential
that's
to get
not.
there.
I will say while the money is that she was advised to do that. I wouldn't put that on whoever advised to do that. I want their goddamn names.
Just in
But
general, like the
I
whole.
will say this though, she's a woman who got, we signed Morata and got like 60 million for him. Do you know what I mean? She got 56 million for.
He was good at negotiating.
Wait,
we gotta give her that.
Great.
Wait,
Yeah,
That's the
what
problem.
I was saying. Most of the time she was good at
Outgoing, she was great.
negotiating.
That's the problem. People have no clue what she's actually doing. I think it was Buck,
not
the
a
one that
scout.
actually. Yeah, that was Buck. There was reason what we did. She was told by those by those football directors that we had, because she was just a money person. When she said, somebody said, you need to this is the thing, this is the fee. She tried to see if she can lower it. She couldn't. She paid what the release class was.
Listen. I will say this: the incomings and outgoings, both sides. The most outgoings, she's very good at. Some she needs to improve on. That's a tiny percentage. Incomings as well. Listen, she didn't scout, but whoever advised her to, we need this, we need like a Zappacosta. We need. Oh my god. We need
They're
Contact.
terrible.
Babarata. Yeah, well, is it Conte? I don't care.
It was
anymore.
content.
But,
It was literally
what I will
content.
say is that when rolling it back to Tuchel, I think
Content.
it's a missed opportunity from both sides, from the new owners and Tuchel, not to say to themselves or agree, let's try and get through this summer, right? And whatever happens, and then we can build the infrastructure there. I think it's a big miss from both sides.
I think
a big
people put a lot of blame of Buck on Marina, because he was the one that actually is director at that specific thing.
No, he
Buck
wasn't.
was
Her title
she was the
correct.
money. Well, I know title was different. I'm saying like she's only does the money. If nobody can see that the only thing she does is the money, I can help you.
Let's go. And,
Right,
how many
guys.
more?
Yeah,
How's
yeah.
more of this spread, man?
Yeah, how much of this?
Let's get through the losing the locker room part at least. Now on to the start of the season. I think we lost the dressing room. Our results were worse than last season. 3-0 against Leeds, 2-1 against Southampton, 1-0 against Zagreb. Whatever happened seems to be present now because the players still look lethargic compared to last season. Still relevant now. Sterling and Aubameyang currently aren't performing well for us, and our poor attackers are still present at the club because Tuchel was happy with them and chose horrible targets. We also signed Cucurella to play as a left back. He's actually good defensively and a good passer, but it's used in the front in the final third. We don't even have a ball-playing goalkeeper yet. Very true. Pulisic constantly held bench, and whenever he played last season, it was usually wing back. Is it any surprise that he underperformed? I think he's clearly fallen off since 1920, but he's still far, far better than Havertz. What do we have here? Havertz lost the most duels in the match. This is in Germany? What is this? Havertz
no
lost
idea.
most duels.
This will be in a game. I don't know what game, but this will be in a particular game.
Okay. Continuing on with the locker room here. Even Ziyech was finding form last season and was treated much more ruthlessly than Mount and Havertz, who had numerous stinkers consecutively and didn't get dropped. But then Ziyech had 1 or 2 bad games. He got dropped instantly. The same applied for Pulisic. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
on that point, that's another thing that I had an issue that I brought up earlier with Tuchel is that it didn't seem that he liked playing players on merit for whatever reason. You had Pulisic or Ziyech who had some few games. The first performance they had that was bad, they were dropped. We insisted on Lukaku for 9 games. He was bad after 3, but he still kept pushing. Didn't start Havertz. Starts Havertz, he starts playing well. It's just, I don't know. Your guys' thoughts on this?
I agree with this.
This one's on Tuchel. You can't say it's not.
Yeah.
On,
Yeah,
and
there's
Mason
just-
Mount too.
There's just not a consistent approach to it. I mean, if you're going to be doing this, if you're going to be exhibiting this behavior to one group of players, whereas another player is going to get maximum leniency, then you're going to lose motivation from those players that are on the sidelines trying to get in. They're not going to put in their 100% during training. They're not going to try and improve because what is the what is the gold at the end of the rainbow? You know, there's no
I asked for transfer request the summer in the beginning of the summer.
Who? CH?
Yeah.
It was last season.
Yeah, he was looking to leave. Remember, he was going to go to Ajax, but then they refused.
Yeah, he went to Amsterdam after the Leeds game, didn't he?
Remember, he's his own agent. He doesn't have an agent. He's negotiating himself. So
but that'll happen in the summer. Prior to the summer, they had.
So what? Okay, the guy said, "I don't want to be your." The girl tells you, "I don't want to be your girlfriend anymore." 3 months later, like, oh yeah, everything forgotten, right?
But Tuchel had a whole season to play Ziyech and Pulisic, but he persisted on Mason Mount and Havertz who weren't performing at the time.
I tell you one thing: the reason why I really don't give a fuck about those two. It's not about how good they are. They're actually good players, but the stinkers, when it doesn't go their way, they give up, and that's the unacceptable. Pulisic and Ziyech, they're not the kind of players that if it doesn't go their way, they will try to maybe Pulisic is better than Ziyech in this circumstance, but especially Ziyech, he's not that good. He's not that player that actually, if it doesn't go his way, he will try it. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why he's on the bench.
But Alex, my point in that is that, you know, if you're gonna put in maximum effort and get rewarded 0 times out of 100, then, you know, what is we're all human beings at the end of the day. This isn't conscious thinking. This is subconscious thinking. You know, this is in the back of your head. You don't really think about these things, but like, are you going to give that extra 10% if there's no reward at the end?
Why wouldn't you try first to see if it actually works? Don't give up at the beginning. Do you know how many times I want to break my TV because the guy was just loses the ball at the final third and just, I will skedaddle back?
I think there were times where they did try, but as time goes on, obviously the reward wasn't there, so therefore the effort isn't there. I think that's a poor management from Tuchel.
There was plenty of times where both of them tried. Like, if you want to go, like, I know it's not the best metric, but a lot of people seem to use pressing stats as a good metric of how hard people work. Like, for a large portion of last season, both Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech especially were better pressers than Mason Mount.
Exactly, Peter.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. The guy asked for transfer request. The only short of Lukaku, he didn't do the interview.
Peter, I think the only point in this video is to reflect back on the time that we had with Tuchel, because people seem to think it's all sunshine and rainbows, when in reality, this very last comment says it right here. There are many errors Tuchel made since last year, August. There are a reason as to why we're in the mess that we're in right now. A lot of the blame also goes to Roman, Lampard, especially Marina, but people completely ignore that Potter didn't start this season sometimes. But yeah, I mean, people are saying Potter out and all that stuff, but people, you know, you have the fans chanting Tuchel's name in the stadium.
This guy needs Jesus.
Yeah, like I haven't seen the whole thing.
Mind you, everyone in chat, all of us here did not want Tuchel to leave. We wanted Tuchel to stay. We are just reviewing.
I was gonna say that.
Right. I wanted Tuchel to stay. I wanted him to have time, but we are just simply reviewing the time that we had under Tuchel and looking at it with a fine-tooth comb, really.
I was just gonna say, like, I haven't read the whole thread because I joined in late, and I've disagreed with some of it. I completely agree with basically everything he says in that last point. Like, where I've said it before as well, where we are right now is like a bunch of errors from a bunch of different people, like Bowley and Potter included. But like Tuchel's included in that, Roman's included in that, Lampard's included in that, Marina's included in that, the scouting team are included in that, all of them are included in that, because they made a bunch of dumbass decisions, whether that be not backing certain managers or whether that be, giving trust to certain players that didn't deserve it and not giving trust to other players. Like, regardless of how good or bad they are, like, you know, things could have been slightly different in like certain aspects if you put your trust elsewhere or whatnot. And yeah, I just think there are certain errors that have been made, and it's led to where we are right now. And I think a lot of people right now put all of those problems and errors that we have made as a club on Potter or on Bowley, when it's not on either. Like, it's some of them are like the window that we had to the summer, like that was a mess, and there were things that Bowley could have and Clearlake could 100% have done better. But like, I also kind of understand it because like you've just come in, you didn't really have time to plan that much. So like, I do kind of understand, but you could have done that better. But like, there's just so many things like that could have been done better and as I said, it started from like the Conte last season, and it's just progressed to now. And it's just a few mistakes here and there, and it's just that's where we are right now. And you got to fix those. However, how we fix those, I don't know, but you got to fix those.
So another thing that I guess I'm not going to entirely blame Tuchel on this, but it kind of was the catalyst for why it's been happening now. You could argue that, and if you guys disagree, by all means, let's have a discussion about it. Obviously, I'm here to have that other perspective on it. But I think the persistence on playing Mount, you can forgive Lampard for it. He had a transfer ban. He had to rely on the youth. Didn't really have anyone else he could go to. When Tuchel came in,
the issue with that is that whatever you think of Mount and anything like that, this isn't about crediting a bank or anything like that. But during those times, especially during the 2021 season and early parts of 21-22, Mount did do a lot more, like you said, focusing on pressing and everything like that, which he's not doing now, comes into effect. Although saying that, if you look at Ziyech's pressing stats, are quite impressive. But he would during that time do things a lot more than he's doing right now in terms of contributing. Whereas Ziyech, and you'll say, oh, he wasn't given enough of a start, and that's a fair argument, but I don't think he can be relied on to do that. And Pulisic as well. Pulisic, he may be given a shorter run. It is he may not, and maybe it's too short a run. He just didn't. Okay, let's break it down. Maybe he didn't trust them. He didn't trust them. He didn't want to play them. He didn't fancy him like Billy Gilmore. He just didn't. It just happens. You get a blind spot on players, even if fans think differently. They just don't play them. It just doesn't happen. It's like when Ranieri was manager and he used to bring on Slavica Jokanovic. I was in the Chelsea ground. As soon as he brought him on, there was a huge groan in the crowd because
I remember that.
He didn't because he wasn't a good player. But some people just play players that have a blind spot. You look at every manager's ever managed.
I was going to say
There's one or two players where you go, why do you constantly pick them all the time? It just doesn't make sense.
Andrew, it goes the other way as well. Like when you for example, Mourinho with Mata. Like I don't know what it was, but that just didn't mesh. Like there just was something there. I don't know why. Like it just didn't mesh.
And then he plays him at Man United.
And if people, I don't know if people will remember this. If not, go and do a bit of research on it. When Van Gaal took over at Bayern Munich, they had Luca Toni there, who for like the last 2 seasons was their player of the season, was doing bits. Just did not like him. Just did not take a liking to him. I don't know why. I haven't fully done my research into it. I've done a bit here and there, but just did not take to him. Despite the fact he was literally their best striker, player of the season 2 years in a row, just did not take to him. It just doesn't mesh all the time. Like it just doesn't work. It's like I say for some players in clubs, the fit just isn't right between certain managers and players. It's just not right.
Yeah. So the reason I bring this up, guys, is because I wanted to bring up this over reliance on Mason Mount and bring it into how it's led to the biases that we see in media over this player. And right here, I want to show Simon Johnson, reporter during the World Cup, comes out with these tweets. For club and country, Mason Mount has been used too negatively by the coach for too long, just employed as someone to press opponents in possession. Not saying he should have stayed on for a full 90 tonight, but he's better than that. Okay, so now we have journalists defending this player when they're supposed to have an unbiased opinion on all this, right? Not even just journalists. We have former players.
Not true.
This is Mason Mount.
There's no unbiased thing if it's England. Those are English, what's the name? Reporters. They want England to win. What kind of unbiased you talking about?
No, it's biased because it's direct. Like, because the thing that I have issue with that article, the Simon John, not article, the thing he tweeted, Simon Johnson tweeted is that's all well and good, but when you see the guys that replace him both actually replace him in the team in Henderson and replace him positionally speaking in Bellingham, when they're played in the same system under the same manager in the same World Cup, and they're doing more than he was doing in the same positions, then I can't put the blame on the manager. Like, when I see Henderson, who is not a good player, especially this season, is not a good player, I see him doing more, both on the ball and off the ball, especially on the ball, than Mount was doing in the World Cup, and especially Bellingham on the ball in that same sort of half 8/10 kind of thing, depending on whether you're attacking or defending. And I see him doing more. That's at the point it's like, well, no, this is not just he's being used too negatively or whatnot. It's like Peter said, he's just not that good. He's just not performing.
It's not what people think he is. That's what they can't deal with.
It's the comparisons to Lampard, it's the comparisons to Scholes and all these that the pundits do. And then we have former players right here like Paul Cannavale saying, this is Mason Mount, a generational talent who did superbly through our loan system, ripping up trees everywhere he went. Then broke into the first team, won Champions League, so making it seem like he won the Champions League, not Chelsea. Now he's in England squad. Any losers slagging him are not Chelsea fans, so go and do one. Like...
Can I ask a question? Two
Who
things.
is this guy?
Former Chelsea player, one of the first black players we had.
The point is the same, but it's for two players. And I know the answers for both, so this is kind of a rhetorical question. Why is Reece James not getting this same treatment?
Because he's injured for the half of the season. That's why.
Why does he not get the same hype? Because regardless of the injuries,
because he's injured.
He's the best. He's one of the best players.
Because he doesn't need a defense.
No, we know the reason as well because of the face thing. Secondly, why did Christensen never get this? Someone that was from the academy, regardless of their opinions of him as a player, right? He was a very good player, arguably quality, who performed for us on multiple occasions. Again, you can say what. There you go, Pia. Someone said it. With Reece James, with Christensen as well. He came from the academy, the first academy player since Terry. Like people forget academy. I think it comes back to the same sort of thing as Reece James because he ain't English.
Right, but the thing is I don't think it's that, and part of it is I do agree with him, part of it is, but then again, Paul Cannavale's black, so put that out there as well. But I also think it's like I never see Chilwell even get this much of a defense. He gets ripped to shreds, Chilwell. All this now, well, we can't wait till Chilwell gets back. That will change the first 6 games he plays. By the way, no, because Kukureya's not playing that well. But I just think I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's a concerted effort that they're trying to make him the face of the club and it's not working or people are not buying it. Like yesterday, they came out with like he's apparently the most popular player. The player shirt sells. He's the most popular one.
Did that get officially confirmed?
I don't know, but I doubt that.
Because I think people are just assuming that because it's reasonable.
But what I'm saying is you're going to get like PR puff pieces like that to try, put it across.
Jeez.
Yes,
but again as well, like on my point I just made as well. Let's go further than our club, and some of what I'm going to say, I may be wrong on this, maybe because I'm not fully ingrained in all of like their particular fan bases. I never see Arsenal fans give this much vim and this much and this is Arsenal fans, this much vim and this much nonsense of talking like this about Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe that Mount gets.
For fuck's sake!
Where they talk about how good they are. I never see this level of PR about these two.
Oh my god, all the Smith-Rowe, man, argument. Come on, Scott, you're full of shit.
I mean, I'm not. Like, they hype him up. I'm talking this level of PR. I'm talking...
This level of PR, especially with Smith-Rowe last season.
Well, it's not that...
It's not this. It's not this. It's not... You've got ex-players, you've got fucking pundits, you've got journalists, you've got every fan base, it's not...
Yes, because Smith-Rowe never made it to the England.
No other youth player in any other team gets this fucking PR and this much hype and this much all of this constant 24/7 bollocks. No one else gets it in any other club to this extent. No one else. Peter's right. Mount is on another level of the PR and the bullshit and just
I
the
just
constant.
think
all the
maybe
time.
in England, because I don't think there's anybody else pay attention to the Mount conversation as much as y'all are.
I agree. No, I agree.
I don't think
I agree.
anybody
I
in the
agree with what
world
you're saying.
concentration
I
on the
agree.
Mount
I
like
agree.
you are, guys, because
I agree.
no, there's
Yeah, I
no
agree. I
freaking
agree
way
with
we
you.
pay
This is
attention
only-
that much
this
to
is
Mount.
only- This is only an no. Alex, you're absolutely right. Because I don't care what anyone says. No
Then I
one's
take
ever
my
been-
words back, Scott.
No,
You Englishmen, yeah,
no
you
one-
have
no
your
one-
own
no one's
problems.
no, Alex is completely right. I'll tell you why. Because no other big club is linked to Mount, right? No other foreign club is linked to Mount. Yeah, it's only English clubs, yeah, that are linked to Mount. Yeah, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United. We never hear Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, AC Milan, Barcelona linked for him, stuff like that. You are exactly right. The obsession
I'll
with
take it
Mount
back,
is
yeah.
whether the obsession with Mount or the discussion with Mount, whether you think it's good or bad, is only in England, and you're absolutely right. It's only in England, it is the Chelsea fan base. It is the Chelsea fan base because outside of them, if you speak to people outside, they don't rate them as well. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Mounts
yeah.
it's different meaning for us.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The Mount debate is a different debate elsewhere. That's what that is. That's a foreplay debate, like right there. That's what that is. The Chelsea Twitter doesn't help as well. The Chelsea Twitter, whoever runs Chelsea Twitter, is definitely a Mount fan. You could tell, like anything.
Andrew, did you see that one where he had his hands up after the Kai goal?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
My word.
He only
Talking about how much he
He's-
cares. Like,
He's
fuck
the
off.
only one who cares. He's the only one who
You
cares
see,
about that.
just leave
guess
the
the whole
fucking
team don't
kid
care as much
alone.
then.
Y'all the reasons. Y'all the reasons that
Us?
happens. No, we like why you pay attention how guy celebrates? Why is it such a thing? No, you don't care. You don't care. But every person who don't care, but then says, "Oh, look at him applauding after the game. Oh, look at him celebrate Kai Havertz." You say no, but you the reasons. Because if nobody will mention, he will not be talked to. You English, you proper English, Andrew.
This is the guy who called race about the fraud about 25 minutes ago. Just in case you're late to the time, he did call him a fraud.
I can't, because I don't think.
I know he called him a fraud for how he plays, so I will put that caveat in.
Actually, yes, and I will call him player. No,
Yeah.
he's not a fraud as a player. He plays like a fraud for the past year.
Yeah.
Exactly, 1
I think
year.
we all agree on that.
I say as well, Vicky's spot on, by the way. Hey, I saw that as well. I don't know if anyone else saw that. Bro, I saw that. I saw that. The way it was, what was it? It was Reece.
Oh, with the
Chalobah,
UCL trophy. With the trophy
Reece,
picture.
Chalobah, and Mount. And only one of those guys their picture was them holding the UCL, hugging it, in fact.
To be fair, Chalobah wasn't here when we won it, but I understand
This is
Reece.
what I mean, by the way, when I constantly talk about this and why it annoys me is because of it's not necessarily him as a player anymore. Like, it is what it is. He's shit. Fuck it. It's the way that people speak about him, and it's just the constant PR bullshit.
It's the
from
other people
journalists.
that tricks you. Other people
It is,
that
bro.
tricks
Like,
you.
it is. It's more of like a factor because the problem is, Alex, is I have to then listen to it or see it constantly, and it's just like
I'm sorry.
I don't want to
You
fucking
English
see this.
people,
I don't
I
want to fucking
understand
constantly read about this. Because then
no
I have
matter
to hear
where you
people like
go.
Johnny or people like fucking Simon
It's the
Johnson or
same-
Matt
I
Law or
understand.
Lazard. It's the same
I
bullshit.
understand it's the same thing with the college football over here, around here. Like the players, especially like when it goes to the ranking and for example, who's supposed to be winning the what's the name that award at the end of a college thing? What's the name of that award?
Heisman Award?
Yeah. About the Heisman thing, and everybody brings their own agendas to it. I understand what it means to English people and Mount. I just think the conversation will stop the minute that individuals will stop conversating about him.
The minute it will stop. The minute it will stop.
No,
I guarantee
or
it will
the
stop.
minute you stop reacting to the other people saying about him.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
true. But also, the minute it stopped, was the minute he's sold.
Yeah.
He ain't talking about.
That's the thing.
I tell you what happened.
That's the thing. The moment he's
85%
sold,
of Chelsea
it's
conversations will stop when he's sold. We'll have to
True.
talk about other things and other players.
That's the thing, like that, because it's happened with everyone else. Like literally, Tammy left, and it's like you hear a few mutterings, but it's like no one cares, no one gives a fuck. Like,
I
and
literally
he's the last striker we've had that's actually done anything, which is quite.
Isn't he
Talking
still
about
scored on
Mount,
most
the
goals as a
best-
striker since then?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But yeah, like
talk
that's the
about-
thing. It's just, like, as soon as he leaves, it's like, thank fuck. It's just because it just dies. The whole thing
talk
just
about
dies.
guess-
mounts. For the past
on.
2 weeks, I've been cleaning my like woods behind so I can see the deer because it's overgrown with the bushes and stuff.
Yeah.
For the for the hunting seasons to start. This is what mounts means.
Oh, on the wall.
On the wall.
Yeah.
Like Josh said, taxidermy.
Oh man.
Anybody
Yeah.
wants to put Mason Mount as a taxidermy on the wall? Johnny is.
Johnny.
Oh
would,
yeah,
uh,
100%.
Josh has got a good point. If he was performing, yeah, there's nothing that we could say apart from praise for him, right?
Yep.
There's
Yeah, of
nothing that we
course.
could say. If all of these players, including Kai, if they're performing consistently, all we would be praising them how good they are, right? Like for me, I give Kai sort of a pass for his first season because of how he was treated and he got COVID a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
And the summer 21, I said I'm expecting a big year for Kai Havertz. I think he's going to get Young Player of the Year, right? That's how confident I was.
Sure.
'Cause
Yeah, me too.
I
Me
like
too.
that.
I think all of us, yeah.
But it's like, I'm not going to. I'll praise you for scoring Sunday. Well done. I'm not. My standards for Kai aren't that high. I'm just asking him to do it in 5 games in a row. That's how my standards aren't that high for Kai. Do it for 5 games in a row. Not like we're beaten and scoring 5 games in a row, but play well for 5 games in a row and help us win, right? It's the same with Mount now. Mount, you can't even. What people can't even go to now with Mount is his pressing and his off the ball work. That is not even there, and it's lacking there anymore. I'll look on Sunday.
I really don't care about after ball game.
No,
as long
but
as
what
he
I'm
has
saying
a
is, Alex,
list
what I'm
on the
saying is,
ball
Alex,
games.
but Alex, you know the argument you get from anyone who backs Mount, it's never on the ball quality, is it? It's
Yeah.
off the ball, right? It's off the ball. But
When was that a thing?
That's what I mean.
Learn
But
how
now,
to
you
do
know-
it
you know
on
when
the
I go-
ball, then we'll talk about after ball.
But you know when anyone defends Mount, I go like this. I put a cap. I go, okay, so tell me what he does well, and you can't use off
I
the
remember
ball.
when you did that the other day.
Yeah, you can't use off the ball. I
Yeah,
never
we
get
did
any
that the other
answer
day.
back. I never get any answer back. But that's the thing. It's like if they did well, do people honestly? And I know some people do, but people honestly think we want to sit here and bitch and moan for how many hours on the chat? Do you not realise the other day we were on a Lewis stream for nearly 4 hours?
It's old.
I think it was after the Fulham or before the Fulham thing, but we were there and we were just moaning. And the other day when we won, we had hardly anything to talk about, right? Because we won. The stream was shorter, right? I'd like more of those streams than going on and bitching.
Yeah.
Off. I want my team to be successful. If anyone, hang on, Scott. If anyone seriously thinks that we want to be here and complain about Chelsea, then I feel sorry for you, man. I don't want to complain about Chelsea. Alex doesn't want to complain about Chelsea. Scott, Chris, Oliver, Marshall. It might get us bigger views because we're losing. I don't want that. I want us to talk about and celebrate Chelsea.
What I do want is for you guys to smash the like button,
Smash
though.
the like
Nearly
button.
100 of you
Yeah.
smash that fucking like button. Anyway, Scott, go ahead.
I say Andrew's right. Like, I just like, bro, I would love to be like Arsenal fans are at the moment, where literally all I'm doing is just talking about the positives. Like, and people are sick of hearing my voice because all I'm doing is crying about how we're top of the league and this, that, the other. Everyone is the best player in the world and all this shit. I'd love to be doing that, bro. I'd love to be doing that every fucking stream and have like and just joking around and saying like, oh, maybe this guy for bad. Do you remember how fun it was that like Champions League run where we could joke about oh, Jorginho maybe winning Ballon d'Or or Kante maybe winning Ballon d'Or? That was jokes. It was fun. This is shit.
Yeah.
I want to keep moaning about some of these
really
shit
bad.
players that I just have to watch week in, week out. And it's literally it's like fucking Groundhog Day where you can replay a stream from like a week ago and it'd be the same thing. It'd be literally you don't even have to do another stream because most of the time you can go and replay a stream from like a week ago and the same things that had happened in that game will have happened in this game. I don't want to be moaning about these players. I just don't. But it's like, what else am I meant to do? Just talk about how everything's incredible.
So that we can end Scott's suffering sooner. Let's close out on this, all right? And this might not be a very, I guess, nuanced question, but why not? Let's get it out there. Who do you blame more for the rise of Mount? As in all the things we're talking about, the player protection, the fan base, everything. Do
Scott,
we blame do we blame Frank Lampard more, or do you blame Thomas Tuchel more?
Frank Lampard.
Bear in mind the context of both of those situations.
Yeah, I'm just
Right.
trying to.
Let me think
Just
about that.
the only thing with Frank Lampard is that I'm trying to. Obviously, we had the transfer ban in play, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I don't think the pivot. I don't think him and that midfield wasn't priority based on transfer ban. We were not that short in this midfield and that midfield. So it started with it was what's his name, Frank.
Yeah. I think it has to be Frank because he's the one who started it.
Sure.
Right.
He didn't have a choice, unfortunately.
People go.
No, he had the choice. That's the problem.
No, that's
he
what I mean.
had the choice.
People will go, "Oh, he didn't have a choice; he had a transfer ban." That's not true because
That's not true.
if you remember, the first half of the season, I'm glad he's playing the young players, right? The second half of the season, he dropped nearly all of them apart from Mount, right? He played with Giroud back in. He brought Rudiger and that back in. Do you know what I mean? Christian said he played, even Alonso were playing stuff like that. He brought them in, right? Because we were going, why aren't you playing Tomori more, right? Stuff like that. Yeah. You have to say it was him because
Roman Loftus-Cheek was still there. Was it?
Exactly. Less Barkley, but.
The thing I always say about
compared to no, it was like I'm saying like there's no outs there. There was Kovacic, there was Jorginho. It was
I will say as well, just before you carry on, Andrew, on the thing with like Barkley, like for as brain dead as a footballer he actually was like fairly creative. Like he had the ability to hit like or to play like decent passes and to be fairly like okay in the final third. Like whereas like as low IQ as he had like decent qualities. He was never great.
He was great for a 6-game run in any season, and then I don't know what happened. He either dropped form or they dropped him, one or the other. But yeah, I think you have to. What you have to say is Mount.
It's Lampard.
Mount because he started it essentially. Sorry, Lampard because he started the whole thing when there was a choice.
Yeah, I'd have to say Lampard as well because Lampard. If you compare Lampard, Tuchel, and Potter, I think Lampard was at times where you felt it was the most shoehorned, especially when we'd have injuries on the wing and you have a Hudson-Odoi or a Pedro available. But no, Mount's going to play on the wing, even though he doesn't have the pace or the dribbling to get past people. I think that's the problem. He felt shoehorned at that time, and that's the feeling I get now with the form.
I blame Thomas Tuchel for Mount for playing him in advanced position.
Boom! I was about to say that playing him out.
I was going to say there's a few things. I was going to say
That's a very good point.
Thomas Tuchel was the reason Mount plays in higher line, and I fucking hate this shit.
No, Lampard did it before. Trust me.
They did it before, but not to the same level.
But Lampard persisted playing him as a number 8, which is why he pushed Havertz as number 8 too.
Mostly under Lampard.
Yeah.
I always say the thing with what you said about the Lampard thing about wanting to shoehorn him everywhere, that was exacerbated under the second season. Especially when we brought in players like Werner, and you can say what you want about how bad he was. He at least was okay under Lampard and had a place in the team. And like when you're fitting your midfield around Mount and sacrificing players like Havertz and other like Kante and whatnot just to try and fit it around Mount, that's from the thing I will say that Tuchel did that exacerbated the whole thing. And I'm glad Potter is not doing as much of it. Even though he's starting him, he is willing to take him off and change it. There are so many times that Tuchel kept him on the pitch when he was having a terrible game, just kept persisting with him on the pitch and refused to take him off.
Yeah, I don't see much difference between it.
Didn't Tuchel take off Mason Mount in half time?
Yeah, remember the angry eyes?
Yeah, one against Spurs, and it was the best thing he did. But then there were so many other times that he refused to do it. That's the one thing I will say.
Look, as much as I want to jump on that thing, but for so far, Potter does the same shit that other two do.
No, he starts him, and that's fair enough.
By the way, anybody got message from the number 1 Ben Jacob message? Everybody, the number 1 scout.
You've got to let this go, man. You've
I fucking say, man, it's like the guy's like a Twin Peaks of Carlito.
He's just a journalist.
Twin Peaks of Carlito.
What's his name? Casedo.
Yeah.
Did you got the link? What do you
there was,
think?
we
What do you
apparently
think,
put in a bid.
Mose?
Put
This
in a
is
bid.
young. This is, I hope, at least the buyback clause or the first option.
What,
This kid
Caicedo?
is talented.
What, Caicedo?
No, the other one that goes the other way. Moses, or what's his name? Mosley.
Who?
What
Who?
the Chelsea's youngster that's supposed to go the other way?
I don't know.
No, there's none. It's just 65 million.
65 plus player.
I've no idea.
I haven't read
Hold
about
on,
that.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I've never heard of
It
this guy.
is
Caicedo?
Caicedo in January, 75 plus for Moises.
No, Moises is his first name.
Yeah.
Moises
I
Moises
thought it was
Caicedo.
what's that
No,
kid
Moises
that
is-
has
yeah,
dreads,
Caicedo's
long
first name.
dreads? I thought that was the kid.
No, Moises is his first name.
Alex,
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Alex, I appreciate
You see what Chelsea do to you?
Taxi for Alex. Taxi for Alex.
you. Oh my days.
Is anybody doubting me about the names? Here's your sign.
Yes.
I thought what's that kid's name that start? What's that kid's name that just started
McAllister.
training with Chelsea first team? The young kid with the kind of like a long dreads. Like,
Webster?
is it Webster?
Talking about Humphreys?
It's about Humphreys.
Yeah, Humphreys has dreads, but Webster doesn't have dreads. I think.
Yeah, Webster doesn't have dreads. He has long hair.
Long hair.
Yeah.
Long hair.
Humphreys
Webster.
has dreads.
I've literally not. Like,
No,
Well, who-
I think
who-
Webster.
well,
I think
we're
Webster.
just youth players now, aren't we? Really?
Hang on. We just found out it's not a player. Alex.
Okay, thank God, because I thought the kid was has a high prospect.
No. I think it's just add-ons like with the.
Yes, Peter, I mixed up black people a lot. Yes, Peter, yes.
Oh,
Fuck you.
There he is. Chris, you never gave your final thoughts on the whole. Is
what?
it Tuchel or is it Lampard?
For me, Lampard
Mason
is
Mount.
deluded fan base
Jesus Christ.
because they're just.
yeah, Lampard did start a lot of the crapping off fan base.
That's why I blame him.
I mean, I can't disagree too much.
That's why when I put some of the players
Peter,
where we are
stop
right
digging
now
at
on
me,
him,
man.
They can't have like a well balanced like opinion on Mason Mount or like when he has a bad game they won't say it. They say it's the best thing like our
What's
youth
that
had.
SNL that you guys that have like a news thing? One white and one black. They do the news thing on SNL. What's that thing?
Weekend update.
Yeah, we can update.
Yeah.
Peter, me and you, this is not what it is that you can take a digs at me for like this is not SNL. Leave me alone.
He won't let you forget this, you know. He won't let you forget this.
I know. C1 still have a post-traumatic disorder from talking to Peter. Every time he talking to Peter.
I'm in a group chat with these guys. That's a daily thing, right? C1 gets it. That's a daily thing.
That's what I'm saying. C1 is like a personal.
C1 gets
Punch him
trod on. C1 gets trod on every day, and that's just a general thing.
By the way, I didn't see Daniel. I heard Daniel went on sabbatical because Mount was on sabbatical. That's right, Josh.
So, ladies and gents, we're going to wrap it up here. I think this was a very good discussion, and looking back at Tuchel, wasn't nearly as bad as the people who are Tuchel out likes to say it is, but it did have its flaws. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Flawless is going to be streaming again in a few minutes.
Yeah, midnight. So
Okay, so we're
just
going to
go
go
over
ahead
to
and
there.
redirect you guys over to there. Make sure you say what's up to Flawless. Give him the big old casual kiss. Why not?
Good look.
Let's
Pause,
go
pause,
ahead
pause,
and
pause.
pause. I got it. Pause. All right. Anyways, pause. Anyways, guys, make
By the
sure
way,
you're
Josh, I
smashing
moved
that
from
like
there. I
button.
don't live there anymore. But
Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you for joining us in the discussion. Thank you for the guys who actually were willing to sit down in discussion, not just react to the goddamn title. And then check out the links in the description. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on this whole thing. that we discussed.
Chunky TM. Just I'll send you my what's the name PayPal account. Just send money over there, and I'll send it to Zacharian.
There we
Yes,
go.
sir.
Yeah.
Secret Agent Alex on the job. But guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you again. We'll see you again Saturday, 10 o'clock UK time to discuss the game after the Premier League and all that stuff. Okay, you guys have a wonderful night. Peace out. Stay casual.